we join back in with our group after an absolute wonderful victory in the Doomhakre, spectacularly done from our group, and even managing to defeat the attacking corrupted golem that interrupted during the race, with only Dante dropping unconscious before it seemed to just stop. And oh yeah, sorry, Dante and Volu going down before the golem seemed to just stop and walk
Dante's the
away.
only one
But
that really mattered there.
yeah, he walked back into. After which the guards and the clerics arrived. They helped heal people up, and you returned for the evening with it already being well, it's still quite early in the afternoon. You returned to talk to Thaddeus and find out the full results, and were given a full paid bath, food, and spa luxury afternoon. Um, as we're coming in, I'm going to ask each of you because obviously, maybe an hour and a half has passed, but obviously, I know that some people were thinking about other things and were maybe distracted from the relaxation portion of the afternoon. So, what have you been like? You don't have to go into full detail, but have you been enjoying the relaxing and fully, or have people been pondering? I'm going to start with Bowling.
Was enjoying it until I got told I was irrelevant.
Yeah, I think Bowler's enjoying the platters of food.
Yeah, he's. I was saying, like, as we were walking down, he was enjoying the adulation. He was standing up, kind of garnishing as much as support. He was hoping to see if he could see people that he'd asked to come along, but he didn't necessarily. But he still loved the praise anyway. In the bath, he just jumped straight in and starts floating on the top, just scullying on the top of the water. No shame, just properly out there. Um, and then occasionally just letting off a little bit of gust to make more steam in the room.
Nice. Okay, Ichi.
I think Ichi's kind of anxious. Like, obviously, there's a lot of revelry and a lot of relaxation kind of going on right now, but Ichi's kind of more distant and pondering the elemental, like the construct that was, well, first of all, the elementals that were apparently there, because obviously Ichi turned up and they were gone.
Yeah, and you would have heard the full thing that the initial attack was Zorn,
Hmm.
which obviously you knew were in the area. That
Yeah.
as you'd spoken with Sir Arthur,
Hmm.
um, he had told you that the city does struggle with Zorn with the presence of Zikar. It's quite a attractive gemstone for them. Um,
But yeah, then thinking about the golem and the way it just the golem itself felt more like a warden that the watchers might have used. Like that it felt like there was a lot of tie-in towards, like it went after Dante when they were in hybrid form. The moment that calmed down, it calmed down, and all those kind of like micro actions. Like each is just kind of like there with a going back to like basic training that I used to do of writing everything down and seeing if I can draw lines and find connections and try to establish more certainty in my knowledge.
okay.
And
Dante.
every now and then we'll, like
Yeah.
go, right, I need to stop and I'll go hop in a steam bath and then be in there for 5 minutes and then go, no, I can't, the ADHD, I need to go right.
Yeah. Dante, how have you been spending the last hour and a half or so?
Dante would have gone into one of the baths as doing so, and probably just kind of sat, say, in a corner, noticing that around him it's kind of like slightly, like, I'm not going to say it's bubbling or anything like that, but you can see that it just seems like his heat is still like kind of around. And he's just looking at his arm that is still kind of almost like, say, still hurt an inch from, say, the spell. Well, yeah, the stuff he was doing.
Yeah.
He looks very kind of just very distracted and not really. He's just not there, really. He's kind of deep in thought and just keeping to himself.
Okay, I'll finally Eleni.
Yeah, Eleni is a little bit reluctant, and she would probably try and find either somewhere in the baths that was more steamy or more bubbly. You know, has more bubble bath in it than anywhere else. And would be trying to have as little time showing any kind of body as possible. Anybody watching would see the extent of the scars that are on Eleni. I think normally you only see sort of the bits that come up here and the bits on her face. But because obviously I have fur, you would see multiple wounds, slash marks, scarring all the way down. And she's trying to hide that as much as possible. I think the other thing is that she's glad it's over. She's really glad that race is over. The two things I think on her mind right now are, first of all, she's really worried at Dante's transformation. She's sort of worried about, she knows that wasn't Tenebris, but it seemed too easy almost, that was like, how would you know, and what if he got out, and actually when he went down, Dante could have died and Tenebris could have got out, and that whole sort of, that was really risky. That in her head, that maybe wasn't, you know, we all survived and that was great, but that maybe wasn't the most sensible thing that we did. So there's that. And I think also she's thinking about the prize money, and she's thinking, with her share of it, what does that change, if anything, and how does that affect her plans going forward?
Okay, so I'd sort of say as we're coming to sort of the end of your time in the baths, it's probably been quiet for a moment. Everyone's sort of contemplating and enjoying in their own spaces.
We're such a team.
Are you going
We've been through a lot, you know, a lot's happened.
I'm sorry, what were you involved in?
I'll have you know, I single-handedly
only
won the
race.
thank you very much.
But yes, as you're coming towards the end, there would be a knock at the door, and one of the attendants would sort of say, there has been a message left at the desk from High Priest Arcaner. Whenever you are ready. And again, not really sort of ending your time, just informing you that there has been a letter delivered for you. You, if you want to, can get it.
I mean, Eleni would ask for it to be brought to them if no one else is putting their hand up.
I'm still enjoying the backwater.
Yeah, then the attendant will bring it, but then we'll look a little bit like, who should I give it to that's not? And then probably looking at Ichi, as Ichi is the one out of the bath, and we'll hand you a small envelope.
I like how it's the plant that's out of the water.
I mean, arid, you know, I'm like too much moisture.
Probably too much water right now.
You know, like the humidity, and I'm already there, just like.
You can probably just suck it out the air, right?
It's like sprouting little afro shoots because there's too much.
But yeah, and each there is a letter with the chaotic embers written on the front of it.
Yeah, I'll slice that open and give that a little read.
Okay, so the letter would say it would say chaotic. I was trying to think if he would use that name, but he would, because you've not given them another group alias right now. So they would say, Chaotic Embers. I have spoken with Sir Volkov about the reports of what's went on down in the crevasse. We have taken those that were infected in, including Tabitha. We ask that you come forward, as there is no sign of any sort of corruption on them, and they seem to have been cured. We need to know how you have done this in case others. We are slightly concerned that some of the people who have now died or were cured, we did not know they were infected. One of the members is actually a research team from the school, from the Azure Spire Academy, that was doing research down in the depths of the crevasse, and we are requesting more information into that. If when you are available, if you could pop by the temple, that would be of great assistance. High Priest Arcana.
Ichi like read that out loud. Like if we're like communal bathhouse kind of thing, or like individual. Yeah. Ichi read that out loud so everyone else kind of hears it.
Dante's just got his eyes piercing towards him.
You okay?
How much
Ichi kind of like backs up a little bit with like the intense gaze.
I mean, how much do we actually want to tell people? Because it was very clear to me that only the fire that Dante produced healed those people.
So are we saying that it's only elemental or only magical or
other kinds of magic fire? I mean, Tabitha tried to heal herself with a firebolt and it didn't work. But when I cauterized her wounds with my arrow, which was lit up with the fire from Dante, that just fixed it straight away. I'm a little bit worried.
It did still damage them, though. You will remember.
It still did damage, but it got rid of the infection. I trust High Priest Arcana, but I'm not sure we want to be advertising Dante as some kind of miracle cure.
Certainly not, no.
Ichi, you seem to recognize the golem. Well, not recognize, but you recognized its
there were
nature.
Aspects of it which were quite familiar, yeah.
Where is that from? Is that from your order? Is it?
Do you want to give me a history, Ichi? Sorry, keep going, Paul, as you're asking this question. So I'm gonna Ichi's doing the history as you're asking him about if there's anything he recognizes.
Is it your order? Is that why it was there because of the Gorn and then saw Dante? Is it because it went for everybody?
16.
So there's definitely nothing that you in your order, nothing that jumps out at you, but it is very familiar. And I'd say thinking back on it, it wasn't really anything specifically about it necessarily, and more almost like the energy it gave off that felt familiar. And it feels very much like your oath energy.
There's aspects of it which are familiar. In a way of like the things that the golem stood for, or at least what it was programmed to do. Are very similar to like that of my order. It was very much about identifying an elemental threat and neutralizing, not destroying, but making sure that it couldn't hurt anyone. But when it was attacking other people, I believe you said that was while it still had the corruption on it, didn't it? It had the purple crystal, was it? Is that how you would describe it?
Like a goo,
Goo.
like the pustules on people, but it was more like a goo on a rock.
Yeah, it was like the crystal had been liquefied somehow. As 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 we were attacking it, or as Dante was attacking it, and as the infection receded, it was like it got harder again. That the actual crystal started to form again, and it turned back into maybe what it was originally.
Yeah. There's an aspect of control with it. It's possibly was created as a companion or as a additional aid for Soata, maybe. Um, but obviously as it was maybe in the caves or wherever, then it got infected. I'm interested to know what's further down that cave because it came out of there, right?
Yes, and do you think there could be a link between that cave and the mines?
Possibly. If there's a back entrance or an internal network where it's recently crumbled or anything. I mean, it
I'm
it may
thinking on
not
that,
even.
not Ichi, there have been quite a few earthquakes recently, so there might not have been that have in the
Yeah,
last few days you've been experiencing. And then also what you will know about zones is they dig holes. They don't like it doesn't fill in behind them.
yeah,
So they dig their own tunnels as well, which alters landscapes, cause things
yeah.
to fall through.
If
But
the
then sorry, go on.
if the Zorn have been here for a little while, which I believe they have, due to the fact that Sarata was called in to help deal with the issue, and this city's kind of used to having these issues with these creatures, then there is a high chance that maybe there's a whole network of tunnels down there that weren't there a few months ago or even years ago, and things have kind of bled together.
Hmm. I'm wondering how we've got something that infects ordinary people going about their daily business and creatures that in theory are underground and rarely come out.
And
It seems
also
like an odd
creatures that have been
combination.
created.
Well, and again, as you say that, Eleni, the zone weren't corrupted at all. There were signs that the
True.
zone had been fighting, but the zones weren't corrupted. They were, and what you will remember, they spoke to Dante. They told him to run.
Well, I didn't know they told him to run, but
Well, I don't know if
yeah,
Dante's even said this, but they
I knew they'd
anyway, I
spoke.
think you
They
said
did
during the
something
battle.
to him.
You
I
knew
think
you definitely knew they spoke because he shouted and garbled, 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 and then
Mm.
went, "Don't attack them." You know what I mean? So you know
Mm.
that
Yeah, he
they.
did, but I don't think we knew what they'd said to him
No, you did. No,
specifically.
you
no.
didn't.
Um,
But you
but
would remember that they spoke and were cognitive, not like the other
but
corrupted.
but that then worries me. I mean, if this golem is connected to Sir Arthur, how is it that it's been infected without him knowing? Um, and it does feel like, I mean, some of those people that was teenagers that we've seen around the city. I mean, I feel that this all links back to
I
the
I
fiends
believe
and
when golems are created, there's not necessarily a telepathic connection between the two. In the few books that I read of um some watchers creating sentinels to watch over villages and such, it's more like you create them, create their programming and then leave them. So it could be quite easy for Sir Arthur to not know what's going on with something that has maybe wasn't even created by themselves. It might have been created by another mage as an additional help.
I think we need to find that out though, because if
Oh
Sir
yes.
Arthur created this thing in the last week or so, and we know that he's been active in that time, that's really fast
Mhm.
for the
I
creature to be infected.
definitely agree we should seek out Sir Arthur sooner rather than later. Luckily, I
Mm.
believe he comes back tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. How many more days of the festival are there?
There's one, isn't there?
Yeah, and he is arriving the day after the final day, isn't it? So in 2 days' time.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. I don't know exactly where he is, so it's easier for him to come to us, especially as he
I think
knows
he
that
said
I'm
as
here.
well in the when they're back, they stay at the Bloody Banner.
Mhm.
So you know after the 2 days where they'll be, but not before then.
Have we thought about what we're going to ask for as a favor?
No, I don't think we have. I didn't think any of us thought we'd actually win. We were just here to do the little odd jobs and to cross the finish line.
Yeah, to try and survive, not get too damaged, and
hmm
but
Although, you know, surviving was the least of our issues as Anichi's eyes wander over to Volu, who's probably just like starfishing in the steam.
Yeah, as
And
we were having that serious conversation, I was still stark, just balancing in the water.
you know, it was less about surviving and more about
Death.
yes. Volu, are you going to be re-entering next year?
I don't know. Depends where we are.
Okay. As Volu says that, Ichi leans into Eleni, doing their best to obviously because Ichi can see the anxiety with Eleni about like trying to change and everything privately. Like so, Ichi kind of leans forward, like eyes kind of averted, but whispers to Eleni, "Maybe this time next year we should avoid this city."
I certainly don't plan to be on this continent this time next year, but yes, I do think we should. And I'd say this bit louder. I think we need to consider this favor before we get in front of Alar Moonshadow, or that is his name, isn't it, Liam? Alar Moonshadow. I don't think we have to have a definite answer, but I don't even know what order of magnitude of favor we can ask for. We should maybe have a couple of different options and let's see what we can get away with. I mean, he has a whole school of magic, right? Would that be any use to us?
It would be fun to learn some more.
Well, there's learning, but I'm also thinking about Dante. I mean, I know we don't necessarily want to shout out about the problems that we've got, but there's a lot of knowledge in this city.
Maybe it could get us into the cryptorium and or further restricted bits of the library, like that we could. Ooh, and at that point, I'll kind of get out of the water a little bit and shake myself off and start putting my clothes back on.
Dante kind of starts to like stand up out of say the pool after listening to the conversation, and he will just kind of go, "I wish to speak with Madam Oracle."
We definitely need to do that, and in theory, our debt is paid, isn't it?
It is.
I believe so. Yes.
Doubly fold.
Not only did she get who she was looking for, but she also got the vehicle. So I need to speak to her.
If anything, and I'm not sure if it's a good thing, but if anything, we're kind of now probably in the good books with Madam Oracle. We are people that they know they can rely on, which, again, not sure if it's a good thing.
I do not care one way or the other.
Oh, no,
she may think that we can do more work for her, and I need to say, I'm not sure I want to.
We don't have to now.
No.
We're not in debt. It's up to us.
I need to find her.
Is everything okay, Dante? You seem quite intense.
She knows she has that person, Demetrius.
Yes.
He seemed to have the power or knowledge about binding creatures.
Yes, they do.
So I
Wasn't
wish
that
to speak
into
to him.
objects, though?
Objects are still one more thing that I don't know.
So are you looking to possibly learn it or for them to bind you? Because
I want just to know if they can get rid of anything to do with the other man.
Turn a
I mean,
priest.
if he knows how to bind, there's probably an aspect of unbinding as well.
That is my thought. So I need to
Hopefully,
speak.
hopefully not necessarily unbinding and then rebinding, but possibly even just a transference. If we could get this sorted.
That is why. So, as far as I'm concerned, the favor is for you guys. I do not care. But I need to know if I have an option here. If you guys wish to move on, that is entirely up to you. But I have something to look for.
You know I can't leave you.
Then you must follow.
I think there are more things here as well. Perhaps we still don't know who planted the threads. We don't know what any of that fiend was doing.
The thread, Liam. Obviously, Ichi wasn't there, but I have obviously spoken to people about such things. The thread itself, when it was like used or offered, what kind of like hue did it have? What color?
It was conjuration.
Oh no, not okay, like
There was just purple.
It was
color.
a purple
Yeah,
thread that Paul
Purple,
that Balu
purple,
had.
silver.
And
Wasn't it?
purple silver, is that the same kind of hue of the goo that was on the people?
And
Cool.
actually, I think I've still got some of it. And
We
Volu had.
we
Didn't he put
located
encrusted
some.
rubies in it or something?
Yeah,
He
Volu
put
put
crushed
encrusted
rubies.
rulees in his, but that's
Mm.
obviously not the
But I think
standard.
I've got a thread of it.
And you did locate some. You located some clothes that have been stitched with it.
It was in that wardrobe when I tried getting up, but the cat just.
That was in that house that we went to before the race.
Yeah. The cat
So you
wouldn't
know
let
it
me
is
in.
out there.
And we never tracked down that halfling girl.
She is probably dead.
Ooh.
Or involved.
Either one.
Or
I
even
mean, Volu, just in case Paul doesn't know this, a quick way to check for Volu who has met her is sending. Essentially, obviously she can choose not to respond.
Yeah.
But if she responds back, then she's defo not dead, right? But that you not that you have to do that, but just for Paul's
I
knowledge,
wouldn't be able to do it right now. I am.
If there is somebody that you have met and you're like, oh, I don't actually know, you do have a spell that just think of that person, send them a message.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is.
Just always remember, Paul, that you can use that whenever you want to talk to anybody at any time who you previously met,
and I will
even
say
on
that,
another, like, other city away, anything.
Or plane.
I will say also, so I don't think we did a long rest last week. I don't think we actually checked that off, but you are not long enough in the day to long rest, so you can knock off a short rest if that helps you. Obviously that's a little bit of healing, and for some people they recover some things.
Yes. A short rest would be good. But yeah, can I just ask, what would Volu be able to tell the difference between somebody refusing and somebody being dead?
I don't think so.
Would the spell not fail, or would he feel, I don't know?
No, I don't think there'd be any way to tell. But also it's interesting because I always think about this as like, again, I don't know if it's like if somebody spoke in my head, I'd be like, what the fuck? And do those words just immediately transfer back? You know what I mean? Like, when does my side of the sending activate? Is it the second I've heard the message?
Loser says what?
Yeah. But just even imagine like the message comes through and it like if I'm thinking about it when you get a phone call mid conversation and from the other side of the phone you might hear somebody go, "Oh, hang on a second, I'm just getting a call." Right? Like that, right? Would those words count? Like I think about this a lot. But yes, that is a possibility. But so some nice healing done, some food eaten, and some definite thoughts and things to check off.
But just question, because I'm just using some hit die. It says here hit die is like 10 plus 4. So is that just D10?
One D10 plus 4,
yeah.
yeah.
If I use like 4 of my dice for that, is that
It's
still
4
just
D10 plus whatever the
16?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
For each hit die you use, it's +4.
Cool.
Because I think it's your con, isn't it?
Con
Yeah.
mod.
Yeah, I didn't know if the con stacked or if it was
it does,
plus
yeah.
4 or not.
Because otherwise it would be more useful for you to like do it one at a time and just do multiple short rests in a row.
Yeah, it's just added on, isn't it? It's the total plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I've used 4.
Yeah, I'm now almost at full health, which is nice.
So am
Full
I.
health, baby.
Woo!
Oh, sorry, Chris. I'm looking at Ichi's and Volu's actual hit dice roll. It is just +1s.
It
So you
isn't.
roll 4d10. According to this, it is. Ichi got 1d10 plus 2. Oh,
Yeah.
we only rolled 1.
Oh yeah, I only rolled 1. Like I selected for
Yeah.
it to roll 3, but it
So
only
yours
sent
has
1
done
through.
+2. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
So
Go on,
mine, so I didn't roll it that I typed it in. So my hit die says 1d10 plus 1, and I've got a +1 con. So
Right.
I then
I'm just
did
going to do it through a
2d10 plus
character.
2.
I'm just going to do it through a character sheet to check.
Yeah, I didn't do it through the.
Yeah, I thought it
typed
was
in.
you roll all the dice and then it adds it on.
No, you do, depending on how many you want to use, it is 1d whatever plus
when I'm clicking this
But-
button, it is going up 2d10 plus 8, 3d10 plus 12, 4d10.
Yeah.
It should tell you what 1 is, and then you times that by the number of dice that you want to
Yeah.
roll.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
cool. That
Because the
means
idea is, Paul, you could have
That's fine.
multiple short rests, so you can choose how many dice you want to use in each short
Every
rest
time.
until you run out.
Oh.
Okie
So you
dokie.
don't have to roll them all every time.
Dante wants to go see Madame Oracle.
Oh.
There is going to the temple to see Arcaner if you still wish to do that.
There's Sir Arthur.
Sir Arthur's 2 days, unless
Yeah,
you
so
want to
okay.
message
that's
him.
he like we'll find him when he gets in.
He'll arrive in the city in 2 days.
Okay.
Have we collected our reward money?
That'll be tomorrow, won't it?
So there's the two of the Madame Oracle's potential money as well. It could be
True.
today, but the actual race money, Eleni is correct. That will be done tomorrow during the final announcements.
So maybe I'd quite like to tick off High Priest Arcaner and Sir Volkov and sort of get that sorted. Again, I don't know how much we want to tell them. But then I'm happy to. Sorry, go on.
I was about to say, if you're happy to stay, we could do that. Some of us could see Arcaner and Volkov, and some of us could try and search out Madame Oracle.
I think that would be better.
Do we want
To be fair as well, Dante.
Both,
yeah, I would say as well, Dante, you would remember that to get hold of Madame Oracle, you need to go give a message to Jaxie up in the Battered Brew. And then then it'll be they respond when they do, you know what I mean? Like it might not be an immediate thing.
Well, so maybe let's go there first. Let's go to the Battered Brew, see the bard, send the message. We can then come back down to the temple because it's only next door, isn't it? We can come back down to the temple in the chantry. See Arcaner, and then see when a meet for Oracle's arranged.
Let me move you all back onto the city map as well. We don't need to move on the OBS or
I've not got OBS anyway.
Yeah, don't worry. It doesn't seem to want to move you. Go. Just so that you guys can see and click and plan and stuff. So yeah,
whereabouts are we now?
So you guys currently are in a up in the Zenith.
Oh, okay.
At a very, very fancy bathhouse. So you obviously could come down from the Zenith and go up to the Battered Brew this way, and then down again because the temple's over this side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because and Dante, you would know it's very unlikely that Madame Oracle is hanging out at the Battered Brew, as that is the soldier.
Yeah, I'd figured that, but just however way that's Dante's sole thought process now. We've won the thing. She's got both things she wanted. We're out of debt. So I just want Dante only wants that. He doesn't everything else is completely null and void for him. He cares little.
I would actually look at Volu and say, it'd be quite good to head back and see Alara and Dana at some point as well. I know they were there cheering us on, or you on anyway. I'm sure they might want to celebrate later.
Volley will blush a little bit. And be like, yeah, that sounds cool.
Okay.
I will jump out and get wrapped round with a towel as quickly as possible, and then dress very surreptitiously in a corner with my back to the room.
To be fair, there are also changing rooms off the off the bathhouse, if that makes sense. So obviously, you would you would almost expect you to change into your towel and then go out in your towel, or so there'd be a space there for you to change back into your large overcoat.
Cool coat.
Where is Ichi right now?
After this whole conversation, like, you know how like bathhouses always like in the edges always have those like seats where you can just sit on and kind of like enjoy the steam kind of thing. Ichi's kind of there, just sat with a notebook and pen, like really like keeps writing, and then like a bit of steam or something like drops off of his nose, and they're like, ah.
As Volu walks past, he's going to cast a little bit of gust to knock the book out of his hand, and then go and get changed.
Now it's on the floor, and the floor's wet. Like, the floor's actively wet. Like, it's just like saying this as you're walking past, and it's just like, nah.
So mean to Ichi.
Very mean to Ichi.
I miss the desert. Just gonna go roll around in some sand.
Yeah.
I want to see what happens when Volu starts picking on Dante.
Like, I'm small, dig into like dirt and everything. I just feel like Mole from Atlantis. Like, I know I don't act like it, but also at the same time, I feel like at some point I'm gonna go feral and just be like,
see a tin of beans and go.
But yes, very easily you'll be able to get ready, get dressed, finish up. You almost like able to take bits of food with you from the leftovers. So much was prepared, and are able to make your way out into the now very cool, almost refreshing afternoon air after being inside the steam room. Are you planning to just make your way by foot or get a cloud coach? Or are you just going to walk it? What's the plan?
Dante will probably just like walk, he thinks. Unless there's like a cloud coach immediately there.
You would just set off almost.
Yeah.
I think, with all like the cloud engine racing and everything, I think it's quite nice just to have a walk.
Feel the ground.
Okay. So you guys are able to set off, making your way through the city. Are we trying to avoid any attention? You would, as the very, very first place you pass, Eleni, you can give me a stealth. That you would notice pretty quickly. People are still, as much as a lot of people are still down in the center enjoying the festivities. There are people that they've seen the race now. They're heading back to work, right? Like they're not going to take a whole day off or whatever for that thing, but they've seen it. Eleni, you're doing quite well with a 16, managing to not be seen. But the rest of you, again, Dante, are you trying to?
No, again, he's very much he's just beeline kind of thing. He's not going to stop for people. He'll just like move around them. If they keep pestering him, he's going to push through them.
Okay, all right, it's Dante pushing ahead. Volu lapping it up, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And they definitely are. They're all like noticing and shouting about chaotic embers. There's a few of the kids, and you would notice that definitely a few of the street kids that they like. No people working in the stores and people on the street. You know, they see you, they wave, they shout, and then they're going about their business. You can tell definitely the kids that have nothing to do and just live around the area. They do follow you for a street or two before peeling off and not going too far from home.
Yeah, I'd be talking to them and then probably losing track of where everyone else is a little bit, and then going, and then like that, running to catch up, realizing that I've spent too much time chatting with my beloved fans.
I love it. So I'd imagine probably Dante and Ichi maybe arriving just a little bit ahead of maybe Eleni sort of pulled back and waited for Volu at different points, and I don't feel like Eleni would totally go off ahead.
No, as long as there's some nice alleyway she can skulk in while she's waiting for him, surrounded by adoring fans.
Yeah.
Beloved, please.
Beloved.
Thank you.
Beloved fans. Okay.
So Dante and Ichi, as you initially arrive, I'd say as you guys are sort of entering, you look behind, and Volu and Eleni are like just over the street, catching up sort of thing. It's just you guys are there first. And as you enter, you can hear sort of soft lute playing and almost like a song that's sort of singing out. You don't at first recognize the language, but as you enter, you would recognize Gnomish. But looking over, you can see that the battered brew is fairly empty at the minute. And again, sort of makes sense as you know that a lot of the guards are still on duty. But sat on their usual stool on the stage is the Kenku Jaxi, currently playing the lute and singing along with it.
Dante will just go straight, like first, yeah. Dante will stare, just look up to her first. Does she acknowledge him in any way?
They don't they acknowledge you as almost like more people to play to. They like stand up and come more to the front of the stage rather than just being sat on the stool.
Okay, then yeah, I'm going to go just like walk up and just go, I need a meeting.
They just nod and continue playing. They will they sort of finish sort of playing the bit they're playing, and then a voice will just sort of say, "Where will you be?"
What's the name of our hotel?
What is the name of it? You should remember.
Rusty Bucket.
Yeah, there you go.
Couldn't remember if the Rusty Bucket was one they were in first or if it was
I every now and then I have to remind myself which one we are in because
you guys were in the Bloody Banner, but then you came to the Rust Bucket.
You came to the Rusty Bucket to join us.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the other way around. But okay, cool.
No.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah. They would sort of all day.
Yes.
We will tell you when. And you'll notice as they start up the next song, it is now in common. Same voice singing, but in common rather than gnomish. And they start playing a different tune and go back to sort of sitting at their chair. You would notice that a few of there's maybe 2 or 3 patrons of like maybe night shift guards or something like that they're not working right now. They take a bit of attention to you. The barkeep sort of gives you that look of like maybe they're going to order something, but like obviously seeing 4 people enter.
Liam, the last time we were here,
Mhm.
I thought I saw someone I knew. Can I just scan around and see if I recognize anyone?
You do, and you can.
Perception?
Mhm.
25.
Ooh. Okay, totally clear. You check every area. The guards in here, fairly old humans. They look
Okay.
They definitely look local.
They sound local.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything seems clear for now. Are we leaving immediately once we've done that, Dante? What would you do as sort of the group are waiting for you to come back from?
Just leave. Yeah, Dante isn't hanging around.
Okay, and the rest of so I imagine the rest of the group sort of arriving through the door. You have a look around, and Dante sort of comes back and looks like they're heading to leave. You each obviously you saw the interaction with Jaxie. And yeah, is there
Aw.
anything else that people want to do before leaving? Obviously, well, people are more than welcome to. Dante walks out.
As Dante walks out, I'll kind of look a little bit down because I'll be like, "Oh, I wanted to listen to some music, but okay."
We can stay and listen if you want. I would look at Ichi and sort of say, I know that was really difficult, and I know that a couple of us went down, but I would have thought Dante would have been happier. I mean, he was all out for the death race, and we won, and he survived, and it was because of him that people were saved.
I think he has a lot of anxiety about the fact that even in that volatile state, he was knocked out, because I think it reminds him that even though he's been alive for quite a while, he is still killable. And if he's killable, Tenebris can get out. There's, I think it's just that aspect of being reminded. Like it's always in the back of his head that Tenebris can get out, but now
And that's understandable. I sort of feel like, though, if he doesn't ever enjoy life, what's the point?
I know
But
he's been dealing with this for hundreds of years. I can imagine at some point it just gets tiring, knowing that there's something else inside you that's trying to hurt everyone around you. And now he has people around him that he cares about. Up until now, he's been kind of wandering around alone.
yeah, that makes sense.
Sometimes you've got to sit and eat bread. I know that Volu are kind of
of all the people to say that,
Volu will know.
Sandwich.
Yeah. Volu will know that came off as quite jokey, but then he'll go. I mean, what I mean by that is, yes, we can be lapped up in adulation outside and be happy. Yes, we can be stuck in a cavern and being knocked out and fearing for our lives. But sometimes we can stop and eat bread. We can sit in a garden and look at the trees. Yes, Tenebris is inside him. Yes, he's been trapped for so long, but it would be nice to see him just see the world through Dante's eyes for a change.
To remember why he's trying to free himself of this thing in the first place.
To be human.
Yes.
I think.
Where is Dante?
He went out. He left.
As
We
soon
should
as
probably follow.
as Volu says that, Ichi's there like, I'm a watcher.
It's like it's so classic. They're like, I should not have done that. That's what I felt like.
My whole order is watching, and my
Mhm.
perception's great. It's just Dante, just like I wander off, and Ichi's there like tra la 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 la. Gonna lose my job.
You have one
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
I'm going to
I'd
look at
say
Volo and say maybe we should stick with them for now. I'm sure there'll be lots of singing and dancing in the Rusty Bucket later.
Yeah, it should be. We should be good. Let's go find Dante.
okay. So Ichi, give me a perception as you rush out. And Dante, where were you heading to? Do you want to whisper it to me actually, where you would have been heading as you left there?
See, that just sounds ominous.
That's why.
Whisper it to me so that you never reach
You
there.
should always ask for whispers, even when it's irrelevant, because it makes the rest of the party panic.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
15 for perception.
Okay, so you head out, and in this little square, you don't see him. But also, there is sort of a small crowd of people currently heading out towards the just to exit and make their way out of the bastion and down into the main city, if that makes sense.
As soon as Ichi gets out and doesn't see Dante, they're just there like shit.
Oh yeah, Dante's faster now as well. Forget that.
You are faster now.
Yeah, I've gained an additional 10 feet of movement.
As soon as like the swearing is over and Ichi kind of like sits there and goes, right, oh, I didn't prep that spell, did I? Ichi goes to like, okay, like puts their hand up to their chest and kind of like snaps to like do a locate object on Dante's sword, and nothing happens. Shit. Bolu, Eleni, help.
Your legs are quicker than mine.
Do I have my raven back yet? My silver raven?
Yeah, your silver raven is back.
Okay, I'm going to speak to it in Raven and basically tell it to go and find Dante and tell him to meet us at the temple. Because I can't locate either or do anything like that, but at least we can arrange a meeting place. So that's what I'm going to do.
And I will say as well, as you see
follow
the
the raven.
silver,
Just follow the raven.
no,
yeah,
I was going to say you see the silver raven turn almost, go from that immaterial metal to organic matter and flap its wings, and it sets off and immediately sets off towards the doors of the bastion, heading down into the city. To keep up, you can keep up with it, but you would have to move rather than just walk. But it's not difficult, if that makes sense. You don't need any checks for it because it is the only raven flying in that direction. And after a little bit of jogging, you would probably catch up to Dante as they're coming down the steps from that the sort of I can't think of the word. The plinth that sticks, the ledge that sticks out from the bastion before it descends into the chantry. Dante, probably the raven would land on your shoulder before you see the group, and it would just say, "Meet us at the temple," and then it would like fly away.
Weird looking parrot.
But also, after seeing it set off and head back, you would see the group running towards you.
Hi.
What was that?
I just got there and just out of breath was like, Hello.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a bell on you soon. So...
Or maybe one of those, those things you tie to small children so they can't wander off.
Yes, also a good idea.
Brains.
Do you think we could just put a permanent alarm on Dante?
Not a bad idea.
Okay, so Dante, it's up to the group. If we're heading to the temple now, Dante, are you just gonna sort of follow line and go with, or are you heading back to?
Yeah, because to be fair, I may have completely forgotten what. So Jaxie had said just all day at
She
Rusty
asked
Bucket.
you if you would be all day at the Rusty Bucket.
And you told her yes, even though we're going to the temple first.
Yeah.
Ah, right, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that thing, but I wasn't in the room. So
Okay, then I need to go back to the Rusty Bucket. I can meet you at the temple later. If I don't,
you can't go on your own. I'm sorry, Dante, but it's not safe. We agreed that you wouldn't be left on your own.
Especially
Even though we've done a
right
pretty
now.
shit job of that, but
someone can come with me. That the meeting might with Madame Oracle. They may come and speak to us some point today. And they said at the Rusty Bucket.
well, I'm happy to go and speak to Arcanair. I don't think it's going to take long.
What are people's insights? Like passives?
13.
14.
16.
Pretty good all around.
Hmm.
I will just let you sort of decide at that what they can read.
I'd say
Do you mean he's lying to us again?
no, I'm not
No,
lying.
it's just his
His demeanor
actual
and-
emotions and stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like, is that the underneath subtext of what he's doing?
I would say Volu probably does, and just out of curiosity, what is my general kind of
A nice,
Persuade.
easy way to do it is just 10 plus the number.
Modifier. Your passive
Yeah,
lying
yeah,
ability. Or
as in I mean, so I
So,
don't
like,
know.
if you have a +4, the average roll of a 10 plus that, right? Like, that's how they do passives.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. So yeah, my persuasion and deception are the same as well. So yeah, okay, I think anyone above a 13.
All of them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
so
it's meat to beat.
yeah. All of you probably can see the fact that when you mentioned about going to meeting was it Arcanair?
High Priest now.
High Priestess Arcanair, and going to the temple to talk about what has happened, he wasn't comfortable with that. He's not saying anything, he's not got to stop anything, but he's not really a fan of wanting to go there and show himself.
I mean,
Be like,
Eleni
hey.
did ask and say, how much are we saying? And nobody said we're not telling her anything or
No,
what,
but
you know?
that's it. Nobody said they weren't going to tell anything, and it's like I said, he's not stopping anyone doing it. He just doesn't really want to walk up to it. So, and if they're not, and even if we all pretend and lie, they know we've got a cure, and he's part of it, or at least Tenebris is. So, whatever you can take away whatever you like. He's not comfortable with the thought of going to there, so he's leaning towards going out, and he's got a want for something else. So that's why he's got to go elsewhere. So he's not stopping you. He's not going to say anything. He's just, and to be fair, for most of it, he's still quite doing his stoic look, but there's a nervous kind of like feel or movement or something when he's saying he's going to the Rusty Bucket.
I'm happy to speak to her on my own if you guys want to go back to the pub. It's not a problem.
We'll just turn around and carry it and then start walking back towards the Rusty Bucket.
Stop walking off.
Yeah, Ichi's also with Dante.
Okay. So you guys start heading down, and Eleni can head over towards the temple.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start with Eleni. As you arrive, you would notice there is a little bit of bustle. There's more that like compared to how you've been here before. As you're going in, you would maybe hear some people sort of saying, so it's stuff like, where have I been assigned? Oh, the Zenith Ward, West Side. And like, you can tell just by moving through that they're like, what do they call it when they mobilize? They're like mobilizing the priests, right? They're sort of, and as you're moving through to the back, and a few priests see you and sort of go, "Ah, priest Arcaner is through that way," and sort of direct you. But you can hear they're sort of saying, "We're looking for pustules, rashes, red marks." They're basically pre-warning every cleric in the city what this infection looks like, and you can hear them saying that upon encountering it, you must be very careful not to be contaminated and bring them here. And but you can hear that they're like, it doesn't feel like it's done. You've sort of, especially after having gone and relaxed, and almost like for you guys, you went and relaxed, you chilled out, you've come back here, and it feels like they're still like everything's going, everything's moving, and people are moving around. You would be able to move through into the room that they had prepped with the magic circle.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that as you enter, you immediately see Joe, who is still on the table, and you can see that his infection has not grown massively, but it is growing. And you can see that they're almost at the moment like it's strange. If you imagine, you know, like when you see they use like ointments and leaves to sort of cover the ointments, but they're doing it like around the infection, if that makes sense. It's almost like it's they're trying to heal around the actual rash.
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
So it was Dante's Crimson Rite that he put on the car and the weapons of the people inside the car, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But is that different from the thing that lit up his sword that then lasts all day?
You're muted.
It's the same thing, however, it goes off after a short rest, I believe.
Ah, shit. Okay. So I wouldn't still have Dante's fire on my
Fiery
bow if
arrow.
I pulled an arrow now.
No.
Damn, if we'd have come here first. Okay.
No, to be fair and to be clear, that was me more remembering. You got a short rest from your time at the bathhouse, right? Like,
No, that's what I mean. If we'd
yeah,
have gone
yeah,
here in before the bathhouse, then okay.
yeah.
All right. I mean,
But
Eleni would
also,
probably
I think I
pull an
will.
arrow just to
Yeah,
test it
yeah,
and
yeah.
see.
Nothing like so. But I think
Yeah.
but you will remember, if you remember rightly, Dante did tries to burn Joe.
Did he?
Mm-hmm. That was his first thought when he went through it.
Mm.
You don't know why, but you muted again, Paul. Sorry.
It wasn't with his right, was it?
It was with my hands, I think.
I think it was with his
Yeah.
right,
Was it?
but
Mm.
that's the same thing, right? As
My
you weren't transformed, but you had crimson righted your hands.
Did I have it on my hands?
No, I thought he was burning up from. I thought that was like a side effect that he was burning.
I can't remember, if I'm honest.
No, I'm pretty sure you put it on your hands because you touched
Okay.
him.
Yeah, I definitely touched him, and I do. Yeah, because I remember making a joke. Oh, yeah, I'm just walking around with my hand up as a light.
Yeah.
So yeah, would have been on my hands.
Go on, Paul.
I was just saying it doesn't matter anyway, because even if it was or wasn't, Liam saying if it was his hands, it still wouldn't have worked. So it's fine.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't work at the
It
time.
didn't work
Yeah.
at the time. That's okay.
And I
So
would
yeah,
say for
sorry.
Lenny thinking about that specifically, so you pull it and you sort of like thinking about it, and you see High Priest Arcaner. As you look up and see High Priest Arcaner, who does notice you and motions you over, they are in front of a different body. And as you
Okay.
approach a human woman, maybe about 5'6" ish, skinny build, you don't recognize them at all. And they seem to be wearing like baker's clothes. It's like that sort of attire. It's like an
Okay.
apron, but there
So
is
a working outfit again.
another person that seems to have just been working, but this time on the shoulder and sort of up the neck, they have this infection. And again, they're sort of surrounding it in this cream. You would recognize Eleni. That cream is like it almost like it's magical healing, but it's like 1 point, right? It's the sort of thing you would put on a wound to stop it getting infected, to sort of close up the worst of it, but not it wouldn't fully heal you, right? Like it's not good enough to heal a bunch. But it's almost preventative combating. And as you approach, High Priest Arcanine says, good, thank you for coming. We are having no luck, and unfortunately we are starting to discover more around the city. The reports...
Can I check? Sorry, Liam.
Yeah.
Does the infection on Joe look the same as the infections of everybody else? So there's no noticeable difference in
there's difference
or
in almost stages, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so as you're looking at the woman,
obviously the same thing.
Yeah. If you're looking at the woman, it's almost like she is rashy, but they've not boiled up, if that makes sense. It's like you get rashy, you get small spots, it starts to get pockmarked. And as it develops, they blister into bigger pustules. She looks like she's in early stage, like the rash stage, whereas Joe, and actually I would say that, Eleni, you would almost, having now seen almost a third stage, you would be able to determine that. So again, looking at Joe, he doesn't look like he's ready to snap, and it's one area, it is starting to blister. He is looking feverish. But it's not like how you saw...
He's not full zombie mode yet.
In the cavern, where it was body covered and almost morphing their body shape because of how much they're infected. Whereas this is still very contained to his waist and abdomen. And as you approach, they say, we released, actually, Tabitha a little bit earlier. She wants to go home. We find no signs of the infection. What? We also, the guards, we wanted to talk to you directly. And he will sort of finish up with the lady and sort of motion over to the side. Not to a different room, just like away from that. And as that happens, that is where we will end part 1 of this episode. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for playing. If you want to find out what's going to happen next, please hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you know when the videos are coming out. And as always, roll well. Bye. This is the end of part 1. Part 2 airs Sunday 7 PM GMT, or will be linked in the top right of your screen now. Thank you for watching, and roll well.